Very good. Now what I would like you to do is to stand before whatever it is that you're going to be using to step on to represent the body. Stand just one short, small step away in front of it, looking at it, being the observer of the body, and then finding in your body whatever seems to take your attention first as an area of either pressure, heaviness, pain, ache, stress, however you define it. Whatever comes to your mind, I want you to just allow yourself to acknowledge it. And then as you acknowledge that in your body, I want you to step into that particular mat that represents the body. As you have your attention on that part of the body, breathing easy, eyes open, say, I feel this blank, whatever the feeling is you call it, in my blank, whatever body part that you have this feeling in. I feel this blank in my blank body part. All this is condensed energy. This feeling is nothing but condensed energy. And the energy is nothing but condensed space. And just breathe in a deep circular fashion now as you feel the sensation, whatever it is, you've labeled it in whatever body part. Breathing with it gently, without resistance, and feeling it as condensed energy, condensed space. Breathing deeply, reminding yourself that this condensed energy is condensed space and is all of the one substance of life. All life is one substance. This substance and feeling is of that same one existence. And just breathe deeply with your eyes open, relaxed, in a state of acceptance of this moment. Breathing in, feeling, allowing yourself to let go of any resistance. And feel free to let that feeling bring you into a certain movement. You might find yourself wanting to embody that sensation in a different position. Feel free to change your position to best demonstrate, to embody what that feeling, that sensation is. You can lay down, you can bend over, you can twist, you can turn. Find a way so you can see what this feeling does to you in more than one level simultaneously. Experiencing this moment, breathing, eyes open. And then take a slow, deep breath and close your eyes, focusing on the feeling and allowing yourself to follow the feeling back in time where it takes you. Exaggerating the feeling now. Taking the feeling you're embodying and intensifying it. Tensing it even more. Doing what you need to intensify it, amplify it. Know that you can. Allow yourself to experience, to embrace, to really know intimately this feeling and how you do it. Notice what muscles you have to tense more than other muscles. What you do with your breath. Any thoughts you find yourself telling yourself to help motivate you, pictures, images. Become familiar without resistance to this moment, to this feeling, to this experience. Embrace it. And with your eyes closed, allow whatever memories it brings you back to, seeing and hearing and feeling, or just having it shown to you in the body, because the body remembers even if you don't see the picture, the body remembers. The body remembers. Trust that it will bring you back there. And your job is just to look at it. To look at it, to not resist what it is and what it was. To go back to what it was then and allow yourself to breathe with it again. To give it the breath it never had. To take that which was frozen and like a piece of ice, you breathe on the ice to give it the heat from the deep inner core. Give it the heat from your deep inner core that wasn't given then because of the fear of the threat, real or imagined. You held it in. Now is the time to melt the ice, the frozen moments, the chronic tensions in the body, breathing deep and circular. You see, you don't pause. You keep your breathing going, feeling it, listening, watching, letting the light of your consciousness shine away that darkness, giving voice to what was never voiced, letting it out, letting out the that may have been inside. Letting it all out. Letting yourself experience it. There's no one there to judge you. There's no one there to penalize you further, to punish you. There's no one there except the witness of your own consciousness. Perhaps a friend who's helping you on the path, or a therapist, or a loved one, or just your spirit guide. Let it out. Release what's inside you. Express that feeling that's been locked up. When we express, we stop depressing. Depressing creates the sense of unhappiness, depression. Expressing releases it and lets life flow. It lets water through the hose so that the garden is nourished. It is properly watered. Fill it. Let it out. Experience it. This is your moment. And through the embodiment, through the voicing, You now can open up from this position and blossom into the position of strength and health. What is that position that can lead you to the feeling, to the strength, to the future that you really want now? What is it you really want now? Show it, embody it. Notice how you go from this old frozen position that you're now breathing life into to wake it up from its trance that has been frozen in time, that has been creating patterns, channels of consciousness that have trapped you. Things going on again and again, creating these patterns, what we call the repetition compulsion. The repeating of things over and over again is because once you build that channel and consciousness, things flow down it. It has a path, a direction it's given. And the more it's used, the more things just naturally flow there because there aren't channels leading it anywhere else. It's no different than water running down a mountain. It will seek and find the easiest way down, and that will be the channel that is already dug through previous movements into the earth. And it may be called a stream or a river. Whatever it is, it flows into it. And even the surrounding water absorption will eventually be drawn to it as well. It draws in other water from elsewhere due to the groove, the gravity that's been created to create that formation, that habit, that channel that things will naturally just all of a sudden move down to. Like you see in a water slide. A water slide has the channels that funnel the water and you down the same way every time. And that's the way it's been built. And until it's changed, it's going to be that way. Now, usually in a water slide, you go to the top after walking up the hill. There's usually 3 different choices. There may be a slow and easy one, a really wild one that just tosses you this way and that way, and then another one that's somewhere in between. But as you stand on top, you choose. You choose one of these channels to go down, but once you get in that chute, you can't turn back, because once you release, you can't turn around and say, no, I want to go into the other channel. Because that channel is going to take you all the way down, tossing you this way and that way until it spits you out at the bottom. That's how consciousness works too. That's how we create these habits of consciousness, which eventually we then call laws. The different laws of the universe are those channels of consciousness that have been repeated over and over, and all of a sudden, that's how things move and get organized. And creative intelligence then has an organizing feature by these grooves that it moves on, like a record or like a CD reads from a CD disc. All of these are similarities that groove over and over again. It produces the same result over and over again. That's its nature until you all of a sudden stop using it. And then, just like sand, it may just fill in and cover it up. You see, because from lack of use, these channels might not be open anymore and might slowly close. So what we want to do is create new channels because they've been frozen biologically, emotionally, and mentally. By making these movements, by expressing ourselves, by breaking through the armoring, we change the chronic tensions. We bring circulation, oxygenation, blood flow, consciousness, movement to these areas so they start to pulsate again and vibrate again. And so they start to move. And we create new channels, doing new things in different ways, trying to break the old habits. It's amazing the things you can do. Break the channels. Put on your right shoe instead of your left first. Your shirt before your pants. Make changes in comb your hair, then brush your teeth. get off and exit early on the 95 when you're driving and explore new ways to do things. Create new channels of consciousness and break through old habit patterns. And that's part of what we do when we make the changes and movements in the body. By moving what we call an accordion process from the accordion process, the condensed version, when you're down, holding, constricting yourself, to the open version. I want you to go from one position to the other position a number of times, like we've talked about on some of the other CDs. But I really want you to be able to embrace and feel the movement of whatever was happening with this sensation in that body part. And this is just a good example of how we bring aliveness back to those areas that have been shut off, closed down, held onto, restricted, constricted. You get the idea? I know you do. So breathing, voicing, embodiment, this is part of that process. We're going to continue and give you a number of different processes to bring excitation, excitement, movement, vibration back into areas that have literally been dead, numb, cut off, not receiving the flow of life force in order to be able to experience itself in all its aliveness and vitality. Now, some of these exercises may seem silly and you may find a lot of resistance to doing some. But that's that unconscious part of your body trying to reinforce itself, saying, no, 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 stay away from this. My job is to distract you from what these emotions that have been frozen to create this feeling in the body really are. So no, no, no. Resistance comes up a lot here. Defense mechanisms. Okay, oh, this is silly. Oh, I don't like this anymore. Oh, I'm just too busy with everything else. This is resistance. You've made the commitment. Keep doing all the different processes on this CD. And you do this for a couple of weeks. It will change your life. In fact, some of the things we do might bring up so much repressed memories, emotions, and new awareness, releasing you, you may have some incredible breakthroughs and epiphanies. I have seen it over and over again. I'm working at this level of ice, of body, of the unconscious mind in this way produces incredible results. So just be prepared because it's going to happen. I promise you, it's going to happen. All right? It's probably started happening already just with this first embodiment. Seeing how you do it, noticing how that you cramp down and hold yourself and resist it versus opening up and seeing what you really want. Seeing what it is that you really have to do to go from one position to the other. And you'll find one of the things you have to do to shift your position is you have to. This is a have to. Deepen your breathing. Open it up. Lift yourself and open your heart. These are things that we have to do to experience the openness because that's the nature of it. To be open, you have to be open. Then you experience openness. But when you are chronically held inside and not even aware of it because you think that's the way I am. In fact, my parents are the same way, so are my grandparents. Oh, I see. So one has modeled the other, learning how to do these things during those hypnotic stages of early childhood. And so it gets passed on generation to generation, one just like the others, unable to process things, chronically holding in this area versus that area. Believe me, it's the modeling of consciousness of creating these channels as the little child looks up to see mom or dad and identifies with them, becomes them, doesn't want to lose them, so they become them. Oh, that's convenient. Let me take them inside and become them, and that means to unconsciously start to take on their habits, the habits of the way they talk, the habits of the way they hold themselves, the way they breathe, the way they eat. It's amazing. Watch it. You'll see some very interesting similarities, okay?